Hey, folks, it's your guy Lindsey Huddleston with SPS back in the building for another episode of SPS Edge Show with my guy, Terry McCord Jr., the co host with the most, always holding me down. Back in the building, our guy, Orlando Watkins, has some coaching duties tonight. It's going to bring him away. He may make a cameo. Orlando always try to find a way to get in there. But with that being said, I can always rock with the original MC that I've been down with from day one, Terry McCord Jr. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's been some great weather out. Fall is coming up, and football is back on TV. NFL is back this evening, so life couldn't be better right now.
Yeah, we are, pretty much the prelude. We should be the NFL Thursday night pregame show. Come watch the SPS Edge show before they jump off. So we'll definitely be able to talk about that, the Rams and Bills, later on, and that'll be coming up in about an hour. So just as people wrap up with us, they can check that out. But starting with the first item up for business, who is tennis player Francis Tiafoe? And that's the name that we're going to go with as far as correct pronunciation. If I'm mispronouncing the brother's name, please forgive me. But he's taken the world by storm with his historic feat. The irony, Terry, of him playing at the Arthur Ashe Stadium is that he's the only African-American male since Arthur Ashe to get to this point in the U.S. Open, and that's quite impressive, man. But I just think it's ironic that as we see Serena make the transition, here this brother is who's beaten Rafael Nadal, who's been a staple in tennis on an international scale. And yes, he has what we believe is it Nigerian roots that he
So
may have.
yeah,
Or
he's an immigrant from Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone and has roots down in Maryland,
Mhm.
and just taking the world by storm, man. So we've had this explosion of tennis in our face, particularly with the historic feat of Serena Williams, as I stated, Coco Gauff making her big push, and now we got this young man right here. What's your thought on a new face popping up in the tennis world?
Man, I mean, taking the world by storm is such a great way to put it because he's 22nd seed in the tournament, which isn't too bad. I mean, to be seeded means that, people know your name. He's a guy, man, that's fought through a ton of adversity. I mean, just looking through his family, parents both immigrated to the U.S. To escape a civil war that was happening in 1999 in Sierra Leone. Tough family, but he pushed through it. I mean, got into the game early, got coached. Got sponsored to play in tournaments and grew to love the game. But I mean, hasn't really made much noise. I mean, one career title. And I think right now is just making a huge name for himself. What a great opportunity to do so whenever there's so many eyes on this tournament. I mean, he's taken this opportunity and he's made, he's benefited from it. So I think for him, he plays with a lot of power. His forehand has, a ton of speed on it. Serves over 140 miles an hour.
Wow.
It regularly hits about from 120 to 140 as regular as his like first serves in his forehand. So he has a lot of power. He'll return it back to you if you let him get his forehand. But I mean, right there, just winning, 3-1, against Nadal. I mean, a great, staple guy in any tournament. A guy that's well known around the world. So I hope he pulls it out. But again, he's going against the third seed. I looked at in the semifinals, so hopefully he keeps it going. But he's well in footing to win the title.
Yeah, excellent. Recap on him and to add a little bit more about his personal story. You're right. Fleeing a war-torn nation, and when his father got here in the United States, he was a tennis instructor to the point where they end up like living in a storage compartment at one point because the dad was a tennis instructor. He was at the courts, hour after hour, and the mom working as a nurse. And I want to say he and his brother actually slept on some of the massage tables. So as they say, he got it out the mud. And what was the big benefit is that he was able to play tennis for free. And I think it says another thing, Terry, about how we can hold in such high regard Venus and Serena Williams, Coco Gauff, and others, particularly these African Americans who have an impact on the tennis world. But let's talk about the socioeconomic part of what tennis is. Maybe blacks, excel so much in football and basketball for the most part because of, with the exception of football with its equipment, you roll a basketball out there and get some, you got a goal. That's all you pretty much need. But these have been sports that historically have we've been priced out of. To be able to go and play tennis like that is an affluent sport. We may look past it because as I ride past East Lansing High School, they got the new tennis course they put out, this year, and we can just, and it's so prominent But I just remember when I was a student at Henry Ford High School, man, it was more cracks and glass on the tennis court, man, than it was, in the hood or whatnot. So I think it's a lot to be said, especially about the socioeconomic part as it relates to tennis. And, maybe seeing, this brother on the screen can inspire someone to say, hey, let's look at this. Let's pick up this racket and do more. So, no matter what he does going forward, I think he's done a great deal because he's represented well for himself, his family. I mean, he's clearly going to have a great pro career. He's going to be able to be successful financially and all those type of things. And the story isn't over yet.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, just seeing him on TV, with the representation, a black man excelling in tennis. And I think tennis is so interesting because tennis, a lot like baseball, a lot like golf, these are sports that take a lot of fine tuning. You really have to hone your skills in order to be really successful at it because you're playing against international people. I mean, you're playing in these international tournaments where they have tennis academies where you attend at a young age and you really hone your skills there. Just like, for soccer, you go to the UK or you go to the UK, they have soccer academies, which leads you up to being able to play in the Premier League. So it's like there's an advantage with international, sports as far as tennis, golf, even baseball too in the Eastern Hemisphere, because I mean those sports are more popular there. I mean that's why football and basketball we excel here because it's something that's more popular and we have more resources towards that. And so I think with him, I think maybe he can restructure that and how resources go back in his hometown and so on. Like it'll continue to expand because we'll see more players that look like me and you on TV excelling and winning. So it's only the start, like you said.
It's amazing, Terry. And shout out to Latasha Prince. Appreciate you. Hey, y'all, right back at you. She put on social media her favorite show was back. That's right. We are back, and we're glad to have you. And with that, just to kind of wrap up on this, and I appreciate you seeing that point as well. It's amazing, man. Here it is 2022, and here we are talking about blacks in tennis and, getting access. And it's like these same things are just going on over and over again. But again, we'll see what happens with that. Ron Charles, don't worry. You up next, man. Hey, fellas, can't wait to get on Scottie Pippen's ex-wife with Ghost Son and all. Oh, yeah. Don't worry. We coming, Ron. We coming. Shout out to my guy, Jack Tripper. All day. Appreciate you. This is my guy, Jack Tripper. Dinez, we went to, we grew up knowing each other in high school, went to college together at Western. He went to the Western Michigan State game, Terry, and he was blown away by that atmosphere. I mean, you know how that is. You got an atmosphere. You go talk about a little layer, a little Buckeye atmosphere. So with that, giving Ron, what's going on? Let's talk about the next subject. MJ in the news, man. It's a few things we can discuss with him. The first being, man, a little smack talk. Him and J.R. Reed out there on the court, on the golf course, that is. These are two, probably two of the most influential basketball golfers, if you will, and a little smack talk. And some can say it was a big deal, some can say it was nothing. But what does MJ say? You had a good career. It wasn't a great one. Now, everybody can say that. A lot of people can say that. But when it's coming from the GOAT, man, it just has so much more F to it. You know what I'm saying? And you can imagine that they was talking trash out there big time. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about, MJ making the comment, hey, you had a good career, it wasn't great? I mean, is that just a line we all know, or does it have so much more because it's coming from the GOAT?
Well, I must say, if that, caused MJ to say something like that, JR must have been keeping up or beating him a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he had to bring up other sports. As we know, when we beat guys in the video game, or you won't do this in real life, or meet me on the football field, they bring up other sports that they know you may not be the best at. But, I mean, again, MJ picking at the light bait. I mean, J.R. Smith, we know he wasn't the greatest basketball player, but he had great moments. And so I think, he was trying to shun him a little bit and make him feel bad about himself, because I think he was probably beating MJ on the golf course. That's the only way I can think for him to even say that out of his mouth. He had to be losing.
Now, you make an excellent point, and don't sleep on JR. I mean, let's think about it. JR, got another career. He's gone back to college and got a golf scholarship. And just as you were talking about tennis a second ago, man, hey, this ain't nothing to mess around with. If he's able to do that, he's been a great golfer since he was in high school. So you're right. He probably leveled the playing field a little bit. He probably played well enough to be able to talk a little trash, but make MJ say, okay, I got what I'm waiting on. But, at least that's all he said. What did my guy say? Jack Tripper says, smack talk at his finest, trying to get it in.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't agree. Yep. Yeah, you got to say something to get to him. You're like, yeah, you was good, but you wasn't great. Right. Also, what did Jack Tripper say? Since golf was a mental, he was trying to rattle him mentally. Yeah, say something. Because, hey, it had to be enough. It made his way back to the news and the headline, but I'd be willing to bet that he probably was on MJ's heels a little bit. Because think about it, too. He out there with it. You say, JR got to earn them stripes. Oh, no doubt. Because to be honest, with the exception of golf, there would never be a reason we'll be having a conversation of MJ and JR in the same conversation.
True.
You know what I'm saying? With the exception of golf, their paths would not have crossed. So, yeah, he probably got out there and he probably had to pop. And JR says when he plays golf, man, you'll be surprised. Guess what kind of music he listens to when he plays golf?
I'm guessing classical music. I feel like he's one of those.
Close. Starts with a C. Country music.
Okay.
He said he listens to country music, keeps him relaxed. He said he used to listen to rap and hip hop, but it'll get him too hype when he's playing. As a golfer, it can happen like that. Who ball a scoop? Pop said, "What's up? Who ball a scoop?" That's how them greats talk outside off the court, and cause us to go that makes news. Yeah, absolutely, and that's right. If it was anybody else, that wouldn't be a thing. We got another little piece of MJ news. We got 3 things, as a matter of fact. But before we get to the last and final thing, I know Ron ready to go. Jason Tatum is set to have his own signature Jordan brand sneaker in 2023. What do you think about that, Terry? Jason Tatum coming on with the Jordan brand. I mean, he's been up and coming since he, made his impact in the playoffs a while ago. But the Jason Tatum Jordans, what you think about that?
Yeah, I'm excited for him. I mean, I heard that he's gonna have some shoes. I heard John Morant, not to steal JT's shine, but I heard John Morant's having some shoes. And
is that John Morant? He's having some Nikes or these Jordans?
I think these are Nikes. And so people are saying that with the whole thing falling off of Kyrie, they think that Ja might slide up and take Kyrie's spot as far as the signature shoe kind of world, because I think John Morant's more of a low top. He likes his low top Kobe's. He's feeling more of like a low top Nike swag.
John Morant can't get no Jordan deal after the comments he made a little while.
Nope.
Jordan, yeah, you ain't gonna get them.
But
you ain't gonna get that deal.
I mean, I'm just more so. I'm with the Jason Tatum with Jordan. All of the shoes that have came out, whether it's CP3, Melos, even Luka's signature. Luka's is probably a little bit on my good side. I'm not really a fan of the other signature shoes under Jordan. Like, I'm not really a fan of the CP3s that came out, the Melos. So I'm interested to see what they do. I think because Jason Tatum's brand side, you don't really hear too much of like, you hear a lot about him basketball-wise, and I think Boston would do a great job pushing it. But I don't think that he's going to get that much of an attraction shoe-wise as much as a John Morant. That's just me personally. But I think it's a great achievement for any hooper. Any hooper dreams about having their own shoes, calling shoes their own, and wearing their own kicks. And he's going to have his color styles, Christmas editions. Like, it's only the start. But I do think that great achievement. Your dream is, once you sign that endorsement, your dream is to have them put your own line out and really start to brand you out there with their connection. So big accomplishment, like Tripper said. I mean,
yeah, it is. Shout out to Jack Tripper. He said great business and personal accomplishment, no doubt. And also being a part of Team Jordan has worldwide perks. So the young fella did come up. Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, man, it's really a stamp of approval for him because, Jordan is signing off on who's a part of his brand and what's going on. Jack Tripper also said, going back to the J.R. Smith piece, MJ like to challenge folks. He wanted to find a weak spot. So he go put that out there, right? But, also, too, I don't know if you could have caught a ride with him. I think Jason Tatum, wasn't he at that Ohio State Notre Dame game? I saw when they were showing LeBron and others coming in. Jason Tatum was one of the ones that came in.
I'm not surprised. There was so many people there. Of course, LeBron and Bronny stole the show, but it was a lot of Jack Harlow performed the game day, so a lot of celebrities were in play. I mean, over 106,000 there, and I'll talk about that in Atmosphere later, but there's a lot of celebrities there.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the last bit of Jordan news, and it's crazy that, you such a large personality that, stuff that happened with your kids make the news, and this is a little messy, but we go keep talking it through. Let's talk about Larsa Pippens, Scottie Pippen's ex, said to be hanging out with Michael Jordan's son, but she got a history, man, of just being out and about. That's her right there with her former husband, Scottie Pippen, and that's MJ with his wife as well. We got a lot of comments on that. I definitely want to get to that. Well, Pooh said, I just get right to you, Pooh. She said, fellas, I hope this isn't too vulgar, but she must have some great box. Let's be real. No, I that's not vulgar, and that's what we got to get to because, keeping it real, and that's coming from a woman's standpoint. Who made the comment earlier? Kiki says, some people were saying maybe she was talking to the GOAT's son about a shoe contract for Scottie Pippen Jr. I doubt that was the case, but I'm sure she probably get what she want. But someone else was talking about in the past. Oh, yeah, here we go right here. Laura Pippen is a mess. Y'all remember that's Moni. What's up, Moni? It's been a minute. Glad you're back with us. The sisters is representing. Larsa Pippen is a mess. Y'all remember Malik Beasley for the T-Wolves left his wife and kid for Larsa for 4 or 5 months, but he did go back to his wife. I just think that two things. She's an attractive woman, no doubt. And to, Pooh's point, she must, how can I put this? She must just be really good in bed on top of that. But then also there's that legendary status. That's like Pippen's ex-lady. So whoever's dealing with him, they kind of come into that orbit. But, man, to make her way back around to MJ, she figured I couldn't have Mike, but I'll get the – I've heard a story one time, man. Now, this is deep. We're talking about women in relationships, all right? And y'all can jump them if you want. This goes back to the days of Ramil Robinson and Stacey Augmon playing for the Atlanta Hawks, all right? And I knew a young lady, beautiful young lady, right? Beautiful. I got you, Jack Tripper. I know you're on deck. And she was like, back in the day, she was at a club somewhere, and it was like Eddie Murphy was there, Stacey Augmon and Ramil Robinson. And she was checking for Stacey Augmon, UNLV fame, and just got into the league at a big kind. That's what she was checking for. But she couldn't get to him. So she ended up hollering at Ramil, and it ended up being like not a Final Four, but actually, NCAA. What's the other tournament that they end up going to? And they yeah, exactly. Yep. So, and she ended up having a relationship with him or whatnot, and it's crazy because it'd be like that. But maybe she always was trying to get at the GOAT, never could. We got a couple comments. Jack Tripper says, it's an MJ checkmate. He stayed quiet during all those Pippen belly aching. Timing is perfect. So MJ sent his seed for the scumbag work to shut people. Oh, he said, okay, I got one for you. So you said, hey, Jack, you said MJ gave the nod to Sonny Boy. Go ahead. Yeah, you have my blessings. Go ahead. Tay says, how do you feel about her son, Pippen Jr. feels about his mom posting thirst trap pics? Ooh, and being with all these men. Ooh, she don't care either. Remember, Kim K is her best friend. Oh, wow. Tay just out here with the tea for real. Well, here's the thing. Good. My only thought is it got to be a little different for these kids that grow up in celebrity households. And it's not to say that their morals are any different, but it is what it is. It's just like another day. I mean, I forget my young man named Bailey who played for Sierra Canyon. His mom is really popular on social media. Hell, Drake was at the game. Drake was dating his mom. So that'd be like us having somebody we grew up watching and checking out, and now they hanging out with your mom. It's deep, man. It's another set of morals and whatnot, but it is what it is, man. I mean, so with that being said, what's your take on all this, Terry?
Messy, man. It's just, I think the last question about Scottie Pippen Jr. is like, how much of that can you really control? I mean, your mom is gonna do what she's gonna do. Your pops is doing what he's gonna do. I think at a certain point he just realized there's not much I can do. But I'm not, from a mental standpoint, I'm sure it affects him just hearing all this talk about your mom. But just a lot of mess, man. A lot of pride going around. Just a lot of people doing different things. And I mean, Larissa probably only have gotten to this point only because she is attractive. I mean, she knows that some knucklehead dude with money is going to be able to get her, to be able to date her, put her on, and then the next dude's turn. So, I mean, it's just a lot of like guys sucking up for it. It makes me think of the whole situation with PJ Washington and the child support thing. And Brittany came out in a video talking about, well, all you got to do is be attractive, and then you get them to have sex with you, have a kid, and you got a check, $250,000 check. It's like, it's insane. It's messing. It's just a trap. Again, just like a thirst trap. It's a trap.
I mean, this kind of goes back, and Pooh, I think she really summed it up really good. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking MJ because it's MJ. And I know Jack Tripper got another comment we're going to get to in 1 second. But as she said, Lindsay and Terry, if all these hoopers know who she is, why do they all keep messing with her? As they say in the streets, she for the streets. Well, and what happens a lot of times, a lot of these guys are really dealing with the same women. She has just inserted herself. She pretty much went from MJ and Pippen generation and got into another generation, and she's just working her game. I mean, that's what it's all about. Jack Tripper goes on and says, Larsa she's street meat. If you know this guy, you know what I mean. Them chicks trying to come up. Unfortunately, young cats love to nail street goods, and they cuff them. So it is what it. Yeah, they take pride in it. I think for these guys who do it, they take pride in being able to say, "Oh yeah, I got it." And Pooh said it, really well again. She said, "NBA and football players for some reason love IG models." I got a good friend, man. He played in the NFL, and he made a comment to me, man. We were at like an NFL draft party. And he said a lot of these, people got to understand, they think that we want these women for certain reasons. He said in most cases, the reason we deal with them because they're available. What happens is these guys can make a phone call, and in most cases, these IG models, whoever they are, they'll drop whatever they're doing. They have a lifestyle that allows them, I don't know if you call it a lifestyle or not, if she ain't working or she's relying on somebody else, but it's because of their availability, and these guys, man, you mess around, man, the biggest parties I've gone to, Terry, and like kind of being on that scene, being with draft picks and all that kind of stuff, going down and looking at the bar, and the bar looks like a carnival because it's all these shot glasses and it look like that ping pong game at the carnival. But my point being, the biggest thing is that those happen like on Sunday nights, Monday nights. It's not Friday, Saturday. These people party Tuesday afternoon at a golf outing. You could just be having like the time of your life, but they have a different lifestyle. Tay goes on to say, I think Larsa is way younger than Pippen, so her and Jordan's son aren't much that far apart. But, but it's like, come on. But, I mean, I just wonder what the conversation in the Jordan household is, and dang, what the conversation in the Pippen household is. It's so much. So with that, MJ the GOAT does it again, man. Because he is the GOAT, his news travels. So with that, we'll keep an eye on that. I mean, Bronny better watch out. Or Bryce stay out the way. Ain't no telling. So with that, we'll keep it moving. But speaking of that, man, perfect transition to Bronny. And I shouldn't ask this question to you, Terry, because I already know what your answer is going to be. But let's just put it out there. Is Bronny going to be an Ohio State Buckeye? He was at the game. You guys all that. You should have asked him when you was at the game with him. Terry, we'll talk about that a little later, but he did the tour, did the pictures. Shout out to the LeBron James and his family, whatnot. But they got all these pictures on social media talking about what's going on and all that. Jack Tripper, are you referring to Bronny going to Ohio State, saying it's wide open? We have to see. Oh, Tay say no, it's just a visit, nothing more. Tay, why you so adamant about that? Where you want Bronny to go? That sounds like you wanted to do something else with it. I said no, it's just a visit. However, let me just say this much, and this may be stealing from Terry your talking points. Just making an assumption, but at the end of the day, LeBron still wants to be liked, despite him being on his way to a Billy. He's a Billy. Let Hov say he's a rock boy Billy, billionaire. He did leave Cleveland. He tried to fix that by coming back and winning that championship, the NBA championship there. But man, what would it say for his firstborn to go to Ohio State for a year, play there, and be involved with what's going on with that? So with that being said, I'm just curious to know what you think about that.
No, it was a great visit. I think Ohio State is definitely on the list. I mean, I'm sure Bronny grew up cheering for Ohio State. LeBron has always been loved by Ohio State. Has hooked up Ohio State athletics really well, and they do it vice versa. They hook up LeBron and his family really well. But I feel like right now, I feel like it's a little bit more than a visit. I think it's anytime you get welcome with the way that they're welcome, I think it always leaves an impact on you whenever you leave. But personally, I think Bronny does want to stay out west. Because if LeBron, does plan on staying, I think he wants to be closer to his pops. I think LeBron will also prefer Bronny to stay closer to him as well, so that he can see him at home games. So if he goes to like UCLA or USC, I mean, he's able to be there for him. I even mentioned Gonzaga because not too far from California. Personally, I just feel like LeBron is going to go a little bit out west to a bigger name team. I feel like Bronny's not really feeling the Dukes or the Kentuckys. I don't really think so. I feel like it would be like Ohio State, UCLA, or USC.
I got it. Jack Tripper said it'll be dope for him to go to campus. He's just got to perform, live up to that last name. It is a lot of pressure, and and to your point, you're right. That West Coast life is something else. We'll see, but maybe he was doing the Bronny to Ohio State now just to get that out the way, to handle the politics. Maybe that is the courtesy he'll give his home state of Ohio by saying, "Hey, go ahead, let's go ahead and check this out." Chris Terrell, how you doing, Chris? Appreciate you stopping back in again. Maybe it's me. Bronny isn't a 5-star player, is he? How do we know what kind of college player he's going to be? I wish him luck, but I don't know. Yeah, Terry and I had that conversation about a year ago, and Terry had to bring some things, in my opinion, because the numbers are just showing that he was getting those type of looks. And put this way, Chris, whether he's a 5-star player or not, and that's a fair question, he's being treated like a 5-star player. And at the end of the day, perception is reality. When you got the blue bloods, vying for him, every, coach in the country wants him. You got Memphis going after him. I mean, everybody knows it's going to be a short term. He's not going to be a 4-year college player, but everybody wants that star power that's going out. Yeah. Jack Tripper also says if their style and philosophy fits his game and skill, said it's a good fit. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. He gonna get in where he fit in. Wherever he go, they gonna base it around him because they know the star factor that comes. And
he's number 35. He's ranked 35 out of 100 in the ESPN 100. So it's not too bad. But I mean, just based off the hype, and I think what Chris is going to, I think his game. I think he is one of the most talented players in his class. I mean, being ranked top 40 out of 100 of ESPN should say something. But I think based off of his game, I think he is more like his father. He's kind of a pass first. He's very athletic. He can get to the rim very easy. I've seen him play, very good defensively. But I feel like his outside shot looks a lot better than his father's was coming up, but not nearly as athletic as his pops or anything like that. Not trying to compare the two. But I feel like Bronny genuinely is a great athlete. I feel like he's one of the top players here. So him going to a UCLA or USC or an Ohio State, to me, isn't out of the picture, or Kentucky or Kansas, because I've seen worse go to those schools. So, I mean, it's not really whether or not, he should be there or not skill-wise. I feel like if a school wants you, they're going to make sure that they get you.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see, man. I think we're getting this started. LeBron was quick to say that, he's going to get his visits. And I think another thing, too, because LeBron did not have, the college recruitment experience, not that it fared bad for him. I mean, he ended up being one of the most influential players ever. I think he really wants that for his son, even seeing him at the game. And from what I gather, just being able to have him take in the moment, can't do nothing but respect what he's talking about. And if I didn't get Chris's comment, he said, I'm just talking on pure game. Yeah, I mean, pure game, we could say that. I mean, he's not a big, he doesn't have a level of dominance, but then the flip side of it is, who are we comparing him to? We got to compare him to other people in his class and what's going on. You hear about these guards and all the explosive play, but I'm seeing some of these highlights, man. Like like you were saying, Terry, that it shows that. So we will see. With that being said, we got some great things happening. Hoop Ball Scoop asked about the Michigan State schedule. It just came out today. I posted it today. Really haven't had a chance to dissect. I know my mother, she knows about January 7th, 2023. That's when they play Michigan. That's all she cares about. Shout out to my moms on that tip. But we'll definitely see. So with that being said, man, kind of keeping with hovering in these superstars orbit, want to talk about these two gentlemen right here, man. I'm talking about Russ and P. Bev, man. Is this going to last? Is it going to last? And you know me, Terry. I'm a very positive thinking, outward thinking person in that regard. My question is it going to last? I don't know, man, because Pat Beverly made this comment. I haven't had an explosive guard like Russ to play with defensively off. Okay, that's cool. But another comment he made was talking about, basically saying, I've been to the playoffs. Y'all haven't been to the playoffs. But he's saying it so cavalier, like he's saying it like you won an NBA championship. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, playoffs. Okay, you made the playoff. My concern, man, is that Pat Bev is going to flip, dude. My concern is that somewhere along the line between the media, because if they're going to keep poking that Pat Bev bear, the media, whether it's social media, whether it's the individuals who come into come and talk to them, they're going to keep poking that bear, man. And the outcome, who knows what that outcome is going to be. So with that being said, what's your thoughts, man?
I mean, I feel like it. So for me coming into it, and I saw that question coming up for the show, I feel like the good news is that your season won't be dictated if Russ and Pat Bev play well, but it will dictate how far they'll go in the postseason. Because the main attention is how AD comes back from last year and how LeBron and AD will gel together and lead to a postseason appearance. That dictates your season. As far as how far you'll go, because it takes a team to win the NBA championship, that's when you ask, can this team win a championship with Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook? And I feel like they can't. I do feel like Pat Bev improves in defensively. I mean, Pat Bev last season had his second highest defensive rating in his career last year. And then also the Timberwolves, as we're talking about a team impact aspect. So Timberwolves were 26th in defensive rating. Pat Bev plays on their team. They jumped to 11th. That team with Cat and D'Angelo Russell, some of the not known defensive players, and still, he boosts up with him alone. He boosts up their team defensively. So I think defensively he'll help. I think a lot of people talk about Russell Westbrook said himself, he plays fake defense. He's just running around. But truly, I do think that his ability to communicate, his ability to be in the right places at the right time, I think will help the Lakers as far as like intensity day in and day out for each game. But as far as winning a championship, I think that's where you need to ask, will Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook work out? Because that's not the main focus. Like Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook won't be the focus of the Lakers. The focus of the Lakers will be how Anthony Davis returns this season. Can Anthony Davis remain healthy? I feel like that dictates your season more than how Russ and Pat Bev will work out. And that's the good news about it for the Lakers. Like, we're not relying on Pat Bev and Russ to work out. We know we can ship one away, but it'll be a lot harder to ship AD away if he doesn't work out. That's the big issue. But I think if these two are here, we know that Dennis Schroeder is a call away from joining the Lakers if Russell Westbrook is shipped out. But I do think that right now, I think it will work out as far as defensively. I feel like Russell Westbrook and Pat Bev may be able to gel out playing defense. Offensively, it may just be fast break city. If they get into a half-court set, it may get pretty stagnant, and dudes might be standing and watching because Pat Bev can shoot from the outside. They hope to see him improve a little bit more. Shot about 34% from three. But Russell Westbrook, we know, man. I mean, 29% from three last year. He's not going to be a guy that can be 3 and D.
Yeah. I want to say Chris Terrell says it's going to last 1 year, but both of them can't shoot a lick, but no teams want Russ. I think Ron Charles is kind of coming for you, Terry. He said Terry must be a Laker fan. Let me see what's going on. He said Terry must be a Laker fan because anyone who's know this won't work. I'm sorry. He messed around.
And it says,
who are the Lakers shooters? You want to know who the shooters?
I mean, they got Austin Reeves. I think AD can hit from the outside a little bit, but I wouldn't call him a shooter. They're hoping Pat Bev can hit from the outside. That's why I think defensively this will work out, but offensively, no. And I think me being a Laker fan, I'm not a Laker fan. I do care for LeBron. I hope he has success. But in the sense of I can't ignore how Pat Bev impacts teams defensively. I can't. I have to.
Pure shooters. But that's a rarity, man. You can't even find no pure shooters right now.
And pure is hard, but I do think their coach is looking for defensive-minded guys, which is going to hurt them again, which is why I'm like the Lakers. I think them making the postseason is based off AD, which is why he needs to come off stronger this next season. And I think who Baller Scoop is saying, 6 or 7 seed. But because they have Russ and Pat Bev to get them to a 6 or 7 seed, they're a first-round exit because them two gelling together, to me, is not better than the Warriors. Not even better than the Suns. They're definitely not on Memphis or even, with Luka losing Jalen Brunson next to him, but I don't think they're better than the Mavericks roster right now. The Timberwolves getting Rudy Gobert, I don't think they're better than them. So I think you just get into ways where it's like the supporting cast around your focus just isn't good enough from those postseason teams, which is why I don't have hope in them. But I do think that they will improve a ton just by adding another defensive player on their team that is more defensive-centric.
We got a lot of comments I want to get to on this too. I appreciate that feedback, Terry.
But pure shooters,
yeah,
pure shooters by Austin Reeves. That's about it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that's they had a disadvantage in the league all the way around. Excuse me. Lakers GM got to be one of the worst in terms of picking a good roster. This roster is 6 or 7 seed, but they can't shoot. That's what they're talking about again. My guy, Coach Demetrius Ware. Hey, Coach, how you doing? He said, Jenny Butts love Russ. I can't see letting Russ go this year. That's it. Let's get to my guy, Jack Tripper. Jack Tripper says they'll win some games off their names, but offense continues continuity-wise, looking smooth. Offensively is all bad. He also said another thing I want to go to that he talked about. He said they don't fit LeBron's skill set for space on the floor. Teams putting past this screen and roll all day in the playoffs. It's going to be some long, frustrating nights. Well, what's going to happen is, man, as soon as there's a disagreement on the court and them personalities get to bubbling up and the wrong looks go between Russ and Pat Bev, that's what I'm worried about. And you wonder what kind of respect Coach Ham is going to have to be able to neutralize that and shut that down. Shout out to my brother, James Lewis. Jay Lou, what's good, brother? Comedian Bubba Dub said that he would rather drink Magic Johnson blood than sign Pat Bev on the Lakers. Oh, no. So what Bubba does say, I'd rather drink Magic Johnson blood than sign Pat Bev.
That's foul.
That is horrible. Hey, that's beyond being trash. What you say, Jay Lou? We got Mike Hoops page. What's up? You say, and question, y'all keep saying trade Russ, but if I'm another team, why do I want Russ and why do I want to help the Lakers improve? It's about getting that fit. Jay Lee, you crazy, man.
The only team that I honestly that would actually pick Russell Westbrook is like a 3-way trade with like the Jazz and maybe like even like Derrick Rose or something, like with the Knicks. Because that's the only way. Because I mean, Russell Westbrook's contract has one more year on it. And it's for $47 million. So, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's an expiring contract that you wouldn't have to bring Russ back. And that's why I feel like with a team like the Jazz, maybe you get some more draft picks from a different team, and then that team will ship their point guard to the Lakers, and it'll be like a 3-way trade in order to get it to work out. Because they won't be able to get anything from the Lakers if, like, say, one team were to go straight up for Russ. There's not enough value in that. The Lakers got to make a few more calls to get other teams to get interested in it and to find some value that they can take from this deal. Because it's going to take more than one team to be able to ship Russ. Because I think everyone can agree Russell Westbrook doesn't have much value anymore. So they do need other teams to kind of find something to kind of just take on his contract for a year. I mean, maybe he sells tickets or something, and then, he's gone after the year. He's gone
that's when those upper management relationships come into play. That's when people do deals and do favors and things like that. Shout out to my mom, Patricia England. She says, just joining. Hey, fellas. Hey, Mom. How you doing? Right here, I got a picture post. This one was a social media pic. Was actually video of, Pat going into the press conference, Russ kind of standing off camera, and they give each other guys a hug. The one thing I can see them saying is that I can see them saying people want us to fail so bad, which is why we can't fail. I can see them agreeing and saying, look, no matter what people say, they're expecting us to fall out and have these issues, which is why we can't. I mean, I hope that'll be the case, but we don't know. Mike Hoops page says they were trying to steal Buddy Hield, and Turner with the patience said we don't want Russ. But why help the Lakers? I keep saying, yeah, that's what everyone is talking about. And then Ron says Russ Westbrook not going nowhere. No, I just think that we didn't see him get – I think if it was going to happen, it was going to happen last season. We didn't see him get offloaded then. Yeah. So we'll see. But I want to be surprised, man. I want to be surprised and I want to be wrong at these two brothers being able to bring their powerful personalities together for the betterment of the team, and believe me. And I don't know, does LeBron have the ability to shut down any, malarkey that may go on between these guys? I don't know. We don't know, but we're going to find out. So with that being said, I want to move on. I want to talk about these WNBA playoffs. WNBA getting it in, and also want to say happy trails to Sue Bird. I don't have the image up right now. Sue Bird played her last game the other night with the Seattle Storm. She is kind of consistent with what we were talking about last week with her level of play, man. It gets like that. I remember when I kind of stopped playing rec ball when I used to be the first round pick all the time, man. You get to the point where just your game, man, you're just not as sharp. You're just not on it. I saw her kind of struggling with her shooting. And you're right, that Las Vegas Aces team, man, they weren't holding up. They're like on a mission, man, going forward. But Sue Bird is, come and gone and had her impact on the game. It's really been a week of recognizing legends in sports that happen to be women. I won't say women legends. I'll say legends in sports that happen to be women, referring to Sue Bird as well as Serena Williams. So with that being said, these WNBA playoffs, man, I was watching that Seattle Aces game, man. That was some good basketball. That's all I can say, man. That's just some quality basketball. And you and Orlando broke that down last week, but it's been something. Kenny pops on to say, Sky versus Sun, who y'all got tonight? I got Chicago. That crowd should be on fire. Yeah, I would imagine so. So. I'll probably go with that as too. But with that being said, what's your take on what's happening to the WNBA, these playoffs that we're watching right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Aces move on to the finals. It's something that we all kind of all agreed with them being our favorite to win it. But, I mean, the Sun forced Game 5 in a big win at home. It's such a big win. I mean, they had 4 players score over 20-plus points. That's not going to happen tonight. I mean, it's Game 5, win or go home. I mean, it could happen, but I think more so that opportunities are not going to be there tonight. I think it's going to be a lot tighter game. It's not going to be a blowout like it was Game 4. But I feel like, I mean, the Sun, I mean, their keys, man, I think they just need to run the sky off the 3, play physical with Parker, and limit Copper's penetration. Because, I mean, when Copper and Parker penetrate the basket, the Sun have to close in on them, and they're able to kick out, and the Sky shooters can have catch-and-shoot threes. I think that's worked for them. And I feel like the Sky, I mean, they just need to play at their pace. I mean, the Sun have constantly sped them up, had them not be as comfortable as they would like to, like a good defensive team does, and just space the floor. They know their game, and they have to play their game and live with the results. And so I think, with them being at home, I do think that does play a part. I mean, we know home court advantages. That Sky crowd, too. I mean, we didn't bring up their fan base when we were talking about Las Vegas and Seattle. That Sky fan base, I mean, all of them, honestly. But, I mean, I think those 3, just how successful those teams are. Their crowds are well behind their team, and it's going to be on fire. And, I have Parker having a big game, but don't underestimate Copper, man. She's a great player. A lot of speed. I heard a commentator call her the Usain Bolt of the WNBA. Just a ton of speed, man. I mean, once she gets in the open court, she's off to the races, and you can't hold her in front of you for very long. So you want to limit her as much as you can for penetrating and closing and getting in the gaps to be able to create opportunities for each other. But I have the Sky winning. I do have Sky, and I have the Sky and Aces in the finals with the Aces winning. With Asia as the MVP. So, I mean, she won MVP. So I think cap it off with a nice win.
Yeah, she got that MVP. She's been playing some great ball. We got a lot of comments right here. Give me 1 second. Kenny also says Vegas has to be the fave. They run and gun, and they can shoot. No, they're doing really well. Chelsea Gray, we've been talking about her, that profile pick, LL. Yeah. She's on all-time great tear. She is a killer. That's Mike's Hoops page. Mike Hoops page also says a few more things. I think rating-wise, you want Candace Parker in the finals versus Vegas. That's ratings, so the refs will help them. I mean, if anybody watched the Netflix special about, the disgraced Tim Donaghy coach, referee that is from the NBA, talks about how they kind of steer towards who they want to see. So, you're right about that. She's on the cover of all the magazines and all the games, so that could be the case. Also, congrats to Candace Parker. She's number 2 in playoff points and first in rebounds. Just all-time great. I hear it. Kenny also says Copper has to have a big game. She's been up and down in the playoffs. Yeah, normally people lock in. They know what they need to do. And again, my guy, Coach Ware, says, I got the Aces. Kelsey Plum is the next level. Yeah, she goes hard with it, man. So it's going to be something to see. And you're right, that MVP, shout out to the MVP as well, making it happen when you talk about what's happening. We're getting ready for this final round, and they finals bound, man. And, sometimes some teams just have that look that they're really going to do it. And, I posed this question. She's an AK too. Shout out to her. I posed this question to a state champion, Tristan Nichols. Young man plays for De La Salle, won a state championship in football and basketball. And though he's a young prep player and amateur, I said, what's harder, winning the first one or winning again? He's like, man, winning again. So for Candace Parker and company, man, that target is on their back, and those Aces are playing with a different mindset. So you wonder if the hunger is still going to be there or the ability is going to be there. But we will find out. But we're doing really good, man, with the time and how we're rolling, and we're going to be hitting that 7 o'clock hour pretty soon and capping off that Rams versus Bills. So we'll get you guys straight for the game. But before that, I want to talk a little college football, do a little college football update. and let my guy go ahead. He was live on the scene, reporting direct. You said, I'm not letting Orlando outshine me. Orlando was at the game, at the Aces game, last week in Vegas. He said, no, I'm just going to go to the horseshoe. Go down here to Ohio State with my dad, represent for your dad, Terry McCoy Sr., and you guys represent me, man. But talk about that Ohio State experience and give us your update on college football right now.
Well, I'll go with my update on college sports because my Ohio State one is a little lengthy, but I'll be able to do my college. So, I mean,
Alabama. Of course, your Ohio State one is a little lengthy. What you talking about?
Hey, you said I had to get an extra special segment this week, so I had to take a little more time for it. But no, I mean, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, need I say more? I mean, two best teams in the country. Everybody else is chasing them. They deserve their respect. A lot of great football, man. I mean, I saw that Florida State game finished really tough. I felt bad for LSU. Brian Kelly, what a way to lose the game. I mean, special teams was Brian Kelly's thing at Notre Dame. You can't count on Notre Dame when he was there to make mistakes on special teams. He goes to LSU. Again, LSU, a little undisciplined. He's trying to smooth the edges over there and have them kind of turn on, have a good season. But they lost off a block field goal. So, man, what a way to end to continue that Labor Day weekend. Clemson struggled a little bit, not a top 4 team in my opinion, but I mean they did what they had to do to get the dub. U of M, I will mention it. I mean, you guys played against a team that won like 3 games last year. Well, I'm kidding. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, U of M looked good. I mean, they kicking my guy Cade to the curb. I mean, his body language in the press conference didn't look too well, but JJ's their guy. I mean, I hope JJ lives up to the hype. But I mean, Michigan looks good as they're supposed to. But Michigan State, I gotta point this out before I move to Ohio State. Michigan State losing 2 key defensive players, Darius Snow, who moved down to linebacker and was playing really well. I was also at that Michigan State game too, so I had my little Big Ten road trip kind of vibe. Losing him and Xavier Henderson. Snow is out for the year. Very disappointing loss. Henderson is not out for the year. He will miss an extended period of time. So probably won't get him back till about week 6 or 7 is usually what that means. But they also want to take this slow because it is a leg injury. And it did look serious. He was on crutches and on a brace. He was wearing a brace. So but MSU, I mean, pulled it out. Western's a tough team. I mean, week 1, which I got to say for all games, week 1 is tough. I mean, you get all the hype. You've been waiting. You've been playing each other all week. You're going to have your goof-ups. Michigan State had their fair goof-ups, but they were able to pull it out. That's all that matters. But now to the game that we've all been waiting for, a top 5 matchup, Ohio State, Notre Dame. First off, I got to say, I've never stood up at a game as many times as I did at the Horseshoe. The environment was on fire. It was amazing. I mean, we weren't high up, but we wasn't a bad seat in the house. I mean, a lot like Spartan Stadium, not a bad seat at all anywhere. Hearing the Bronny chants, seeing LeBron on the field, man, LeBron had a huge swarm of people, as he should. You could only have limited field access, but man, I tell you that everybody that had field access, all the important people went to LeBron James. They knew who was on the field. The king was on the field, and they all went to him. So what a great scene that was. But, man, just a great game. But defensive games, man, don't get celebrated. Everyone's calling Ohio State not this good of a team. Notre Dame wasn't really that good. It's because defense was played. We don't see defense anymore. C.J. Stroud he went 24 for 34, 223 yards with two touchdowns, 0 picks, and an 89% QBR rating. So just great football being played. Both running backs for Ohio State ran for 80-plus yards with split carries, so not really getting a huge load of one. You kind of getting a mix of both, which is great to see. Our JSN, Smith and Jigba is out. He probably won't be back till about week 3 against Wisconsin, hopefully, is what they're saying, just because they want to be safe. Week 4, I think it's later in September, just because they want to play it safe. We won't need them for Toledo and Arkansas State. But, I mean, just honestly, our defense looks great. And I think with just seeing that, I think Michigan should be worried. I think MSU should be worried. Offensively, we'll figure it out. But I feel like defensively right now, the Silver Bullets look back in effect. I love what I'm seeing defensively. Supposedly, their DC is saying that was very basic. I mean, asking the team to hold their opponent to 10 points the whole game. I don't care who you're playing. 10 points in a top 5 matchup. As many times their offense put their defense on their heels, Ohio State's defense pulled through, got the stops needed, and they were able to rely on their running back, Maya Williams, who lost a ton of weight, looking a lot faster. Number 3 was running the ball. Man, if you would have saw him from last year, man, it looked like a completely different person. Dude was running with a purpose, a lot of speed. He was a north and south runner, but now he's hitting east and west, and that's a scary sight when a guy at his size is running east and west. So great top 10, a great top 5 win. Looks good on your resume. Looks good for the Big Ten. I don't know why Michigan's hating on it. Big Ten is winning. As I would cheer for Michigan if they would have won the championship. And you're hearing it here. I mean, Big Ten is looking good, but Alabama and Georgia just look far superior right now.
Yeah. Wow. Got to shout out Coach Ware. He said, why Michigan can't find a QB, they got to get that together, but that's on them. At the end of the day, man, it's early in the college football season. I'm glad you had that firsthand experience, man, particularly down at the Horseshoe. I mean, I know you're a huge Ohio State fan, and as you should be, love your team. But to be able to see that and the star factor that LeBron brought to a game like that, man, he's making things happen, no doubt, and we'll see what happens. But it's going to be good to keep an eye out on what's going on with college football, and that's really tragic for Michigan State losing those defensive starters. But whether it happens now or later, these things do, in fact, happen, man. So with that, we got a little while before kickoff, man. We'll just go to the final topic, man. We're talking about these Bills versus the Rams, defending Super Bowl champions. Chris, Kenny said, hey, he says right, NFL football is back. That's right. It's back, and it's going to be tonight. We're going to check that out real soon. Chris, he just cuts right into it. He said, who's in a better position this season, Bills or Rams? I just think that the Bills are internally cursed. 4 times for Super Bowl. Every time I hear the Bills talking, that's just me being the age I am seeing that. I don't think that. Chris also says Bills or Rams tonight, give me a winner. Whether the defending Super Bowl champs put it all out there, who has more to prove? Probably the Bills, which probably give them a little bit more reason to go harder. So I would probably just say I'll give the Bills the upper hand in this. The winner of the Super Bowl will be your preseason prediction. Oh, Monty, you don't mess around with it. Why not run it back? They got Aaron down on back. Why not say run it back? I don't know what to say. Unless there's no major injury, I think it's fair to say that. And then also, too, Western Michigan University versus Ohio State. I believe. So you think it'll happen, Rod? We have to make that ride down to the Horseshoe to check that out. And Terry will act like he don't know us when we get down there because he going to be talking about, those Ohio State Buckeyes. But no, what's your take for tonight's game, Terry, with the Bills and the Rams?
I like Chris's question. I mean, who's in better position? I think, honestly, the Rams. And I don't think it's because they have a better team. I just think the NFC is a little bit more clear for them to run it back. Compared to the Bills, who have to go through so many great AFC teams. I mean, the AFC West, period, right there is a struggle to get through. Even having the Bengals trying to get back to where they were last year is going to be tough. Ravens are going to be tough. Just a lot of teams are going to be tough. I mean, I listed 6 teams that are trying to get. The Colts are going to be tough because I have them winning that division. So I think the Rams are in the better spot because, there's only like 4 contenders in my opinion. I mean, you got – of course, 49ers. I think the Packers, I can't even say the Packers. I think the Vikings are going to be really good this year. Just not as many for real contenders for the Super Bowl, in my opinion. But who will win tonight? I do have the Bills winning tonight. I think the Bills do have an overall better team right now. I mean, they're getting Von Miller back. The 2 safeties, Hyde and Pryor are really good players. Missing Tre'Davious White, which sucks. The only concern I have about the Bills is their running game. I mean, they did not run the ball too well. I mean, they were below average in rushing yard. Josh Allen is a better running back than their running back. So I think getting James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother, having him being a great pass catcher as well. I mean, they're very known to throw the ball a lot in many games. So having him in the backfield to run and catch the ball does help the versatility of your offense. So I think the Bills right now have a slight advantage right now, but a ton of emotions are going to be played. I mean, the defending champs are going to be there playing their first game. So but I've seen a lot of emotional games turn into very bad L's. So I do have the Bills winning.
Yeah, not bad. We'll see what happens. And you talk about the Bills winning tonight. That's what you're referring to.
Bills are winning tonight. I mean, they might be in the Super Bowl, but Super Bowl predictions to me, I got to give me a little bit more time because I'm hearing all this offseason, training camp. Like I'm watching Hard Knocks, and they got me thinking the Lions going to be in the playoffs. So I need some time. I need to see some football being played before I put my money or say any winners are going to be.
So what you say? What about week 10? How long you need before you can start giving predictions?
I mean, for me, honestly, I'm give about to maybe like week 5, about week 5 or week 6.
Well, Moni, you hear that? Give us till October, and we go fall back through with that.
Because right now, I guess, man, the Lions might make a little run the way they was talking, but now Hard Knocks to get you.
Hard Knocks how you messed up, how you jacked up, thinking the wrong thing. But we gonna see. Yeah. Well, look, man, it's been great having you. Of course, we didn't have Orlando tonight. We're sure we'll get him back. Just so our listeners know, we appreciate you guys. This is the second week of September. We're going to go 2 more weeks. We will not be in on the 29th of September, but we got 2 more weeks of action in the month of September. We'll keep coming at you. Terry, you got anything else you want to share before we let these guys get out here and watch this game?
Not really. I mean, I'm excited to watch the game. Week 2, Alabama, Texas. Keep an eye on that one. I don't think Texas wins, but, I mean, the guy they're talking about, Texas is supposed to be back and popping. So what a way to put your team on the map. Sarkisian over there. So, I mean, let's see what they do. I mean, they play at noon. So you got to get in the bed early to make sure you watch all of it.
Yeah, Hoop Ball Scoop. Will I be covering Grind Week at MSU? No, I won't. Shout out to MSU and everything that's going on. This year, for me, prep sports as it relates to high school football and basketball will be the priority. I got number love for Coach Izzo and his team and staff, and we'll get in where we fit in, but no, that's not the plan. Rod posed a great question. What do y'all think about Lamar Jackson playing with no contract? I mean, first of all, he fired his agent. He got rid of his agent. I mean, pay that man his money, though, man. That's what I'm talking about. What is the deal?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Russell Wilson, again, I think I might have mentioned it last week, but Russell Wilson getting paid. Another guy for the Cowboys, Dalton Schultz, not getting his money either. I haven't seen any reports about him getting his contract. Knox for the Bills, one of their Dawson Knox, the tight end with the Bills, got his money. So a lot of these guys around them, same caliber players getting paid, is making contracts a lot harder. I mean, even Darren Waller, the Raiders are trying to close his contract and get him paid because, again, another tight end got paid. And so, and I got to mention money too. So supposedly me and my dad are talking about Nick Saban, right? Nick Saban and his contract and how every time another coach gets a bigger deal than his, they have to renegotiate his deal. So Dabo Swinney today gets a 10-year deal, $115 million. So it looks like Nick Saban is going to be in the office with the AD and his agent again.
Go ahead. He's telling him right now. Nick, give him a look. Like, go ahead. And,
he you might as well make the meeting next Monday because I'm going to be there bright and early.
Yep, and I already have it ready. We're going to see. Well, it must be good life they can live like that. But that'll be you soon. They're going to have to renegotiate all your contracts here to make sure you're the highest pay and whatever you do. You got it like that. Well, I want to thank everybody, man. Great group of people joining us today. I really appreciate your support for the SPS Edge Show. We'll keep things going. So with that, you guys can get ready to watch this football. We'll see you guys real soon. Lindsey Hudson with SPS. See you guys next time. Peace.